Hello, it's Michelle with Books Cause Insomnia, and I'm here today to talk to you about new release books that I think are worth reading. I did do one of these videos a few months ago on my main page before I had a booktube page. I'll link that video at the end of this video because there's some books that I mentioned in there that aren't in this video. I didn't want to repeat them again, but you might want to definitely watch that as well because it's got new release books all the way through, I think, June. This one is April all the way through September. Now, the first book I want to mention to you is The Silent Wife by Karin Slaughter. It's actually the 10th book in the Will Trent series, and this book came out last summer. The reason I'm mentioning it now is, one, it's the first I'm hearing of the book. Two, this is the soft cover release that came out on the 20th of April, which is this month, just in case you're watching it later. And I know it's the 10th book in a series, but it sounds like it might stand alone. I'm going to go ahead and read you the synopsis. Investigating the killing of a prisoner during a riot inside a state penitentiary, GBI investigator Will Trent is confronted with disturbing information. One of the inmates claims that he is innocent of a brutal attack, for which he has always been a prime suspect. The man insists that he was framed by a corrupt law enforcement team led by Jeffrey Tulliver, and that the real culprit is still out there, a serial killer who has systematically been preying on women across the state for years. If Will reopens the investigation and implicates the dead police officer with a hero's reputation of wrongdoing, the opportunistic convict is willing to provide the information GBI needs about the riot murder. Only days ago, another young woman was viciously murdered in a state park in northern Georgia. Is it a fluke? Or could there be a serial killer on the loose? As Will Trent digs into both crimes, it becomes clear that he must solve the cold case in order to find the answer. Yet nearly a decade has passed. Time for memories to fade, witnesses to vanish, evidence to disappear, and lies to become truth. But Will can't crack either mystery without the help of the one person he doesn't want involved, his ex-girlfriend, and Jerry Tulliver's widow, medical examiner Sarah Lenton. When the past and present begin to collide, Will realizes that everything he values is at stake. I just thought that sounded really good, and the ratings on it are super high, so even though it didn't just come out now, the paperback just came out, and if you prefer paperback, then for you it would be a new release. Also, just to let you know, I do have timestamps down here that can help you skip from book to book. If it, just in case when you're done watching this, you want to skip back to one that you're interested in getting, that's how you can kind of skip around and see which book it was that you might have been thinking of. And I will have links to all these books down in the description box. Number 2, Aftermath by Terri Blackstock. It comes out May 11th. It's 336 pages. Criminal attorney Jamie Powell will accept the consequences for defending her lifelong friend, Dustin, when he's accused of setting the bombs that killed dozens at a local political rally. But she hasn't seen him since he aged out of foster care, and he's always lived on the edge. Can she still trust him? As Jamie investigates his case and the people in his life, she realizes the facts coming to light could be devastating. Someone is setting him up, but proving it might destroy Dustin more than the accusation itself. Dustin overcame his childhood, but how can he overcome this? I just love books where an innocent person is being accused of something, because it's kind of a fear of mine, the thought of being accused of something I didn't do. It can ruin your whole life, right? And I love reading books about that. And then of course, whoever's trying to help defend them, can they trust them? Are they telling the truth? We don't know. I find it very scintillating. Malibu, August 1983. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Rivas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a championship surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adorned baby sister Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of the legendary singer Mick Riva. The only person not looking forward to the party of the year is Nina herself, who never wanted to be the center of attention, and who has also just been very publicly abandoned by her pro tennis player husband. Oh, and maybe Hud, because it is long past time for him to confess something to the brother from whom he's been inseparable since birth. Jay, on the other hand, is counting the minutes until nightfall, when the girl he can't stop thinking about promised she'd be there. And Kit has a couple secrets of her own, including a guest she invited without consulting anyone. By midnight, the party will be completely out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. But before that first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shaped this family's generations will all come bubbling to the surface. Malibu Rising is a story about one forgettable night in the life of a family, the night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. And Taylor Jenkins Reid is the author that brought us Daisy Jones and the Six and the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I have read neither book, but this book sounds good, so I thought, why not give her a shot? Number 4 is The Layover by Lacie Waldon. It comes out on the 15th of June. It's 320 pages. An unexpected tropical layover with her nemesis turns a flight attendant's life upside down in this witty, breezy debut romantic comedy about life and love 30,000 feet above ground. Well, okay. I hate to love romance. I'm okay with them. I'm not, some people love them so much, I'm kind of okay with it. I personally have never fallen for somebody I originally hated, but maybe it's just me. What really draws me into this book, aside from the cover, which, as you can see, is just gorgeous, is that it's a love story that takes place while people are traveling or stranded somewhere. For some reason, that's what draws me into some romances, is more about where they are. If people are overseas or abroad and they fall in love, that's what I want to hear about. Number 5, Blood Like Magic. It comes out the 15th of June. It's 496 pages, and it's written by Liselle Sambury. This is the Blood Like Magic number 1 in the series book. I don't usually read YA or fantasy, but this one just sounds super juicy. A rich, dark urban fantasy debut following a teen witch who is given a horrifying task: sacrificing her first love to save her family's magic. The problem is, she's never been in love. She'll have to find the perfect guy before she can kill him. Doesn't that sound super juicy? It kind of sounds like, and I don't know why, but it feels like it would have a rhythm to it like True Blood did, but the show, but with witches instead of vampires. And it sounds like, of course, there were some witches on that show. and it sounds YA instead of excessively adult. But there's something about it that just sounds like it might kind of have that wild rhythm to it, and I'm all about it. And I'm excited about the thought of reading the first in a series and starting when it's a new release. So many of the popular series have been out for years, and I just feel way too behind to even start them. So I think this would be a good starting point if you're looking for just a fun, breezy YA fantasy series to get into. And just to let you know, a little side note here, the order of these books is the release date. I thought that would make it nice to have it now and then all the way through to September. Just to kind of, if you want to take notes on anything, it makes it easier to keep track of when to get the books and so on and so forth. Number 6, The Wonder Test by Michelle Richmond. It comes out the 6th of July and it's 448 pages long. Michelle Richmond is one of my favorite authors currently. I really like her. Lena is on leave from her job in New York at the FBI in order to clean out her family's home in Silicon Valley. As though letting go of her father isn't hard enough, Lena has also recently lost her husband in a freak tragic accident. Still reeling, she and her teenage son, Rory, must make their way through this strange new town and the high school around which it all seems to revolve. Rory soon starts coming home with reports of the upcoming Wonder Test, a general aptitude assessment that appears increasingly inane, and Lena is shaken out of her grief by a sense that something is amiss in Hillsborough. When she discovers that a student disappeared last year and was found weeks later walking on a beach, shaved and traumatized, Lena can't help but be sucked into an impromptu investigation. Another kidnapping hits closer to home and reveals a sinister link between the Wonder Test and the rampant wealth of Silicon Valley's elite. A searing view of a culture that puts the well-being of children at risk for advancement and prestige, and a captivating story of the lengths a mother will go for her son. That's all I need to say, right? That sounds really good. Sounds captivating. I find her books to be very fast paced and wonderful. I usually read them in a weekend. Number 7, The Final Girl Support Group. It comes out the 13th of July and it's 352 pages long. It was written by Grady Hendrix. In horror movies, the final girl is the one who's left standing when the credits roll. The one who fought back, defeated the killer, and avenged her friends. The one who emerges bloodied but victorious. But after the sirens fade and the ambulance moves on, what happens to her? Lynette Tarkington is a real-life final girl who survived a massacre 22 years ago. And it has defined every day of her life since. And she's not alone. For more than a decade, she's been meeting with 5 other actual final girls and their therapist in a support group for those who survived the unthinkable, putting their lives back together piece by piece. That is, until one of the women misses a meeting and Lynette's worst fears are realized. Someone knows about the group and is determined to take their lives apart again, piece by piece. But the thing about these final girls is that they have each other now, and no matter how bad the odds, how dark the night, how sharp the knife, they will never ever give up. That just sounds so chilling to me. I would think that would be the biggest fear of a final girl, is having someone hunt them again. Someone prey on them because of what they went through and what they survived. Not a Happy Family by Shari Lapena. This one comes out on July 27th and it's 352 pages long. This author also wrote The Couple Next Door, in case you read that. That book was pretty good, I thought. In this family, everyone is keeping secrets. even the dead. In this family, everyone is keeping secrets, especially the dead. Brecon Hill in upstate New York is an expensive place to live. You have to be rich to have a house there. And they don't come much richer than Fred and Sheila Merton. But even all their money can't protect them when a killer comes to call. The Mertons are brutally murdered the night after an Easter dinner with their 3 adult kids, who, of course, are devastated. Or are they? They each stand to inherit millions. They were never a happy family, thanks to their capricious father and neglectful mother, but perhaps one of them is more disturbed than anyone knew. Did one of them snap after a dreadful evening? Or was it someone else that night who crept in with the worst of intentions? It must be, after all, if one of your siblings was a psychopath, you'd know, wouldn't you? I personally love books about the sibling parent dynamic. And I thought this one would be really pretty fascinating. If something were to happen to a parent, would one start questioning if it was one of their siblings, especially when there was a huge inheritance like that? It's something to ponder. It sounds pretty suspenseful, and I think it would be a wonderful summer read. Number 9. This one comes out August 17th, which is the only reason it's number 9. Like I said, these are all in order of the release date. It's called The Family Plot, and it's by Megan Collins, and it's 320 pages long. Megan Collins is the author that wrote The Winter Sister. And if you've been watching this page for a while, you know that I really loved that book. That was a book that I was planning on rereading at least once or twice throughout my life. It just really touched me. At 26, Dahlia Lighthouse has a lot to learn when it comes to the real world. Raised in a secluded island mansion deep in the woods and kept isolated by her true crime-obsessed parents, she has spent the last several years living on her own, but unable to move beyond her past, especially the disappearance of her twin brother Andy when they were 16. With her father's death, Dahlia returns to the house she has avoided for years. But as the rest of the Lighthouse family arrives for the memorial, a gruesome discovery is made. Buried in the reserved plot is another body. Andy's. His skull split open with an axe. Each member of the family handles the revelation in unusual ways. Her brother Charlie pours his energy into creating a family memorial museum, highlighting their research into the lives of famous murder victims. Her sister Tate forges ahead with her popular dioramas portraying crime scenes, and their mother affects a cheerfully domestic facade, becoming unrecognizable as the woman who performed murder reenactments for her children. What? As Dahlia grapples with her own grief and horror, she realizes that her eccentric family and the mansion itself may hold the answers to what happened to her twin. That sounds riveting. Number 10, A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. This book comes out on the 31st of August, and it's 320 pages. Paula Hawkins is the author that brought us Girl on the Train. What is wrong with you? Laura has spent most of her life being judged. She's seen as hot-tempered, troubled, a loner. Some even call her dangerous. Miriam knows that just because Laura is witnessed leaving the scene of a horrific murder with blood on her clothes, that doesn't mean she's a killer. Bitter experience has taught her how easy it is to get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Carla is reeling from the brutal murder of her nephew. She trusts no one. Good people are capable of terrible deeds, but how far will she go to find peace? Innocent or guilty, Everyone is damaged. Some are damaged enough to kill. Look what you started. Okay, well, sounds interesting. It says it's a scorching new thriller. Yeah, that does sound a bit scorching. Now, my one worry about this book, and hang in here with me a little bit, was Girl on the Train a little bit slow, or was it just me? So I'm worried. That's the one thing. It's exciting because it's an author that we all like, but I kind of felt like that book was a little bit drawn out. I'm worried that this might be the same way. It's only 320 pages though, so maybe not, but we'll find out. And the last one is Apples Never Fall, which comes out September 14th. It's 480 pages long, and it's by Liane Moriarty. And Liane Moriarty is the author of Big Little Lies, which I'm actually reading right now. It says this is a novel that looks at marriage, sibling rivalry, and the lies we tell others and ourselves. So that's it. Those are the books that I am most looking forward to in the next few months. I'm curious, what do you think? Do any of those books sound like something that you have to read? Or are you holding out for something else? Definitely let me know if there's any books that you're looking forward to that I didn't mention. I'm always looking for good books to read. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. I love you. Bye.